All right, here we go again. Welcome, brilliant and precious jewelry community. Bienvenue, précieuse et brillante communauté bijoutière. Bienvenidos a todos, a todas, preciosa y brillante comunidad joyera. Hoy, sesión en vivo. Today, live stream. We're going to design something amazing yet again. I had some technical problems with the resolution because this is 4K, but it must be at full HD for YouTube. So sorry again, because this is the third time I start this session, but we are back. Okay, so I was saying that we're going to use 3Design to create something on this torso. So this is part of the library in 3Design. Okay, so this head, I'm going to assign it a black material here, and we are going to save the file. It's going to be a long session, some maybe 4 hours, and maybe I'll do it in 2 or 3 parts. I'm going to try to do it in 1 part. Buenas tardes. Entonces, bienvenidos a todos. So today I'm going to design using the shaper. So let's go to the shaper retopology tool in 3Design. It's a wonderful tool. Buenas tardes a todos. Hoy es sábado. Es la 1 de la tarde aquí en la Ciudad de México. La 1:10. Bien, let's go to the retopology tool, and the support for the design is this torso, this head, which is part of the library. But what we're going to create is going to be very special. So I hope this time I don't have any technical problems with the 4K resolution. All right. So now I can start drawing. Let's start drawing here. And we're going to create something very, very special. I had the idea just yesterday. Now here we can move the points. I'm just going to move. Oh, sorry, not this one. Undo. Sometimes it's just problematic to start. You know, you always have technical problems at the beginning. Murphy's Law, obviously. Okay, so let's bring this here. Now, I can grab and slide the edges. So let me slide this. You're going to understand very quickly what I'm about to create, and it should be very interesting to follow live because it's going to be an amazing design. Entonces hoy voy a crear un diseño muy especial utilizando la herramienta de retopology en 3Design. Es una herramienta que permite trazar sobre sólidos. Ahora, la gran ventaja es que permite crear sobre piezas de STL, por ejemplo, o formato BJ. Aquí estoy trazando sobre la superficie. Entonces, bueno, digamos que esa herramienta existe en otros programas, pero en 3Design esa función es CAD, es decir que se hace en vivo y además es paramétrica, es decir que cuando la quiera editar, la voy a poder editar sin ningún problema. Es decir que es una malla, pero es una malla matemática. Si quieren comparar, es como utilizar un programa vectorial, pero en 3D. Bien, aquí voy a contar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 divisiones. Dice 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to do an asymmetric design First, also let me assign a different material for the modeling I'm doing here. Let's put yellow gold, yellow gold. So at the beginning, it is going to be pretty slow, but very soon it's going to start taking shape. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm modeling on the face. So this is, well, actually, I think you can already understand what I'm going to do. But there's going to be a lot of design into this this session. Okay, so let me go back to the retopology tool. It's just amazing how it works here in 3Design. Okay, so now let's start modeling the entire concept. The entire concept here. So we're going to grab, let's start sliding. So we go to the slide function here, and I will start modeling a Venetian mask. So it's going to be a very elaborate design, a one-of-a-kind design. First, I'm going to do it real scale, like the scale of the face, and then I will transform it into a pendant, a high jewelry pendant. So I won't be using photo references or drawings or design that you can see online. This is going to be entirely designed live, just for the pleasure of the show, because you know that this is somehow a jewelry show, and it's one of a kind, and this is why we all enjoy this channel. Even myself obviously. It's like, you could imagine that obviously I enjoy what I do, but sometimes more than others. And yesterday I had just this brilliant idea of making a Venetian mask. So obviously, like I already said, it's going to be very slow at the beginning. Very slow, because there's a lot of vertex addition, but I'm not scared of that at all, and this is still the best technique to do this. It's going to be a custom design Venetian mask in white gold and yellow gold and a lot of colored gemstones, and the technique I'm using is one of the most efficient way that you can find to create such a custom design. All right, so brace yourself and follow me through this entire process. We always learn a lot watching people creating things. It's like when you look at a painter or a sculptor. So today you're going to be looking at a 3D jewelry modeler, and it's obviously quite unique. There are many parts of the process that are not so fun to watch, but there's something also very important to the people following the channel, is that when you stop watching the stream, it's when things start to become interesting. This is always the same. It's like when you're studying something, you must stay put the entire time and focus the entire time, because when you stop focusing, it's exactly when things start to become different and really attractive. So the basic is just moving the vertices, but very soon I will be adding the gemstones and a lot of engravings on the mask and the different metal parts. So let's start. Okay, this one. Now let's start sliding a bit more. Okay, this is great. And actually the idea of just modeling on the head that's part of the library is already part of the fun, because you might think that that poor 3D head or torso is somehow useless, but it's not at all. The process of the design is also to totally transform something that has maybe not a lot of features or interesting, or is not interesting as a whole, but applied in a very specific idea, like modeling this Venetian mask, starts to give a lot of value to what we are doing. So here I don't want to take the entire line with me. Let's grab only this small corner. Great. Here we go. So I have a very clear idea in my head of what I want to achieve. And like I said at the beginning, it's going to be quite a long stream today. A couple of hours. I'm prepared to that. I even have my cell phone right here. So I don't have to stand or move. Okay, great. So I can design the entire time without moving. And well, at first also the tools I'm using, this is a very advanced retopology tool. One of the most powerful 3D tools there are available in any software. So this is part of 3Design. It's the retopology tool from 3Design. It's one of the most powerful 3D tools that exists. Well, obviously at first it also yet again might not seem that powerful, but if you would know the amount of combinations that this software is allowed using the shaper and the retopology tool, it's just impressive. because you can entirely recreate STL files that are damaged. If you have a 3D scanner, if you do a lot of photo scan, 3D scan, this retopology tool is one of the best software you can get to repair the entire mesh. And this tool does not create polygons, it creates soft curves, and that's why it's more interesting or more powerful than a lot of other softwares. And also, well, the interface is really appealing and makes the process very enjoyable for the designer. In this occasion it's me, but it could be you. And many softwares, they have very ugly interfaces. I think people underestimate a lot the power of the beauty of an interface. The UI, user interface. Actually, there are people training specifically to create user interface for softwares. And it's harder than you might think to create a pretty yet efficient software. So most people, they create very efficient softwares, but the experience of using the software is not that great because the UI is not that well developed. And at first it might seem a detail that the way a software looks is not that important. But when you use a software for a long time, you quickly start to understand that the way you see things on the screen are very important. The ergonomy of the software is like, imagine having a bad chair or having a bad mouse or anything. All we are using to create, all the tools we're using to create. Hello everybody, welcome to the jewelry show. Today we're using 3Design to create a Venetian mask live. It's going to take a couple of hours to complete the process because I'm going to create a full high jewelry Venetian mask. This is the concept. It's going to be asymmetrical, obviously, as you can already see. And so I'm using the 3Design retopology tool with the shaper. Okay, here on that side I'm done. I'm just going to go out here for a second. So this software is just a lot of fun also to use. And that's why I'm here, because it's a lot of fun to do this. But more than just fun, it's... Thank you for your comments. More than just fun, this is obviously professionally very efficient. So we could do this in Blender. I could do this in Blender, by example. But what would be the greatest difference? Or you could do this in ZBrush, by example, because they do have similar tools. But if today I'm using 3Design, is not only to, well, the main goal is not only to promote 3Design. Obviously it is to promote 3Design, but for many people it's a very expensive software. But more than that, it's also to show that the big difference here is that 3Design doesn't start with mesh modeling. This looks like mesh modeling, but it's CAD modeling. And the big difference is once I'm done, well, let me show you right away. I'm not done, but Here with this surface, because it's just a surface and it's a CAD surface, it's not a mesh surface. So afterwards, I can go to the pavé tool and I can start distributing my gemstones. Well, let's get a diamond here. Obviously, they're going to be a lot bigger. Let's put 5. Afterwards, and this is why I will be using 3Design today, once I'm done with modeling the Venetian mask, I will be able to make all the gemstone work directly on the surface or the solid that I'm doing now, that I'm modeling right now. And that's one of the very important benefits of using the shaper of 3Design instead, by example, of using another 3D software like ZBrush or Blender. I could do this mask in Blender, but when I get to the part where I need to start working with the gemstones, 3Design is going to be a lot more efficient because it's a CAD jewelry software, all right? So that's to explain something very basic or even very obvious right from the beginning. So people that maybe know Blender or ZBrush get at least the concept or the idea why I'm using 3Design instead of using another tool. And also that why I'm taking obviously the step now of modeling this this grid is well, takes its time, but like I said, for the control, because I'm going to get a lot of control, the shaper retopology tool from 3Design offers me a lot of control because it's parametric. I can modify the surface, then I can modify the gemstone with a lot of ease, with a lot of comfort and security. That's why it takes maybe a specific time to create the grid, and modeling the shape for some people might say, I can do that a lot faster in ZBrush. Yeah, you can maybe model faster, but then you will be simply very, well, you will hit a wall when I will tell you, okay, now put the gemstones. And that's why I'm using 3Design, because it's a jewelry specific software. And what we want in CAD softwares like 3Design, it's a lot of control over the shapes and the position of the gemstones, and also the ability to modify the design whenever needed. All right, so that's all for the technical side. Let's keep focusing. All right, here I'm going to draw. So what's great with this tool is that I'm modeling directly on another mesh support. The support, it is a real mesh. It's an object file. Okay, so, but here we're modeling directly on that surface in a CAD software. And I can slide elements like this one, because here I want to create another okay, here, and we can create new vertices very easily. Let's go here. And also what I love in 3Design with the shaper is that we can create a very few points but get a very, very smooth surface. At least it's one of the best software for modeling, because the shaper creates very soft elements. A very clean topology. All right, maybe here I need this one. Great. So now let's keep shaping all this, and that's why it's called the shaper, I guess. And obviously the main structure is already here. You can see that the main structure, the main idea is already here, but I'm pretty far of all the details that I want to create, because I'm going to create this one as a 3D asset. It's going to be a 3D asset, and because obviously, well, I sell my 3D assets, or I model custom jewelry, but not only jewelry, but jewelry. Yes, I do model more jewelry for custom clients, and they pay for a 3D model. That's actually my main job now, because I mainly quit teaching. I keep teaching, but only to advanced, very advanced users, generally for 3Design, corporate clients that have 3Design licenses and they work in jewelry, in the big business. Let's call it the big business. And these people need very specific training, and so I keep teaching to these people. But I quit teaching to beginners. And so, because before the pandemic, my main job was teaching at my jewelry school here in Mexico City, and I closed the school. Not exactly because of the pandemic. I closed the school. I was in the process of already changing the way I live, the way I work. Let's have a look at this. It's trying to be pretty. I like that side. I like the right side. From time to time, I come out of the shaper from the retopology just to have a look at the surface and save the main file. Okay, so now obviously my life is changing quite a lot, because I don't teach that much anymore. Like I said, I still teach to advanced user. Also Blender I teach, but I teach Blender depending on the story of the people. I don't teach just to anybody. Your story must be interesting, and your goals must be interesting. I want people that are going to study jewelry design with Blender with me for a very good reason. I'm just not going to teach you just to learn to do anything just for no reason, or just to make money. I want your motivations to go way beyond making money. I want you to have an interesting project with with what you're going to learn with me. And because I value what we do, and so I value the person who learns, because the time and the investment that the person is going to do must be somehow life-changing as much as possible. I know that sometimes it's hard to find life-changing projects, and well, all right, but that's why if your project is just like, I want to learn 3D modeling with Blender and jewelry design because I have a business idea to create gold jewels, custom gold jewels. Well, let me tell you that idea is an idea that everybody has. You know, it's like, let's make money making custom gold jewelry. Wow, that's not a great idea at all. I mean, everybody has that idea. A 5-year-old kid could have that idea. And well, most people don't have really ideas that go beyond that. And just by example, why it's like that, because at least I changed the way I work. By example, this year, half of my incomes on my jewelry collection, half of my incomes, they go for Palestinian refugees. Half of the jewelers I sell this year, they go for Palestinian refugees. That's a life-changing project. Okay, because my work helps other people. So that's why if I'm going to teach something to someone, now I ask them to have life-changing projects. And because we don't have time just to learn things just to make money. It's boring. It's everybody's idea, just just making money. And obviously it's not that making money is a bad thing. We all need to make money, but we can make money in very different ways. There are illegal ways to make money. There are dangerous ways to make money. There are stupid ways to make money. But there are also very nice, cute ways to make money. There are life-changing projects. And it's important to make more money, but maybe to help more people. And that's when learning and teaching really become more interesting for everybody. We want to learn to be better humans, not just better jewelers or better designers. I mean, you will, if you train, you will become a better jeweler, better designer anyway. But don't forget also to make a better life, the more that you can, around you, with what you're doing, with the job you're doing. Okay, maybe the job you're doing creates employment. That, yeah, okay, that's already something. But obviously, many people, I understand that it's not always easy to solve the problem, just even for you, for one person, to generate the income that you need, well, just to live, to pay your rent, to pay your bills, to pay medicines, sorry. And many people struggle to have confidence that life is good enough and that we should not compete all against each other and basically destroying everything around us in that process of making money for oneself. So, but yes, it's true. You must transcend a lot of things, a lot of subjects in your life, you know, in order to achieve that mentality where you can work, make money for you, but not only for you, also just to make a better life for people around you, people next to you. And obviously it's hard because sometimes our families are part of the problem, because they are scared that you won't be making money when you have creative ideas. And I know very well, because my family was very scared. And well, now it's very different, because I worked during 20 years creating my own designs and my own business, teaching to thousands of people during 17 years almost, just a bit less, and creating a lot of jewels, a lot of designs, and sharing knowledge with thousands of people, which is now what I do through my YouTube channel. And obviously we are all scared at some point in our lives to not make enough money to be able to pay the rent, or to pay the bills, or just to have something to eat every day, and our family. And the problem is that what a lot of people share is the fear. They don't share the confidence that, and that's the sad part, and that's what I'm saying you need to transcend. Don't share the fear. If we only share the fear of failure, let's say in any project that you have, many people are going to tell you, but you're going to starve, you won't have money to pay the rent. That's the basic fear, not having enough money to live. And well, that's sad, because instead of sharing trust in our capabilities to create interesting ideas, an interesting idea generates an interesting business, and then makes money by itself, just by itself. But you need trust. You need to share the vision, the feeling, because when you have a great idea, a creative idea to create something beautiful, no matter in what field, the emotion you have when you get the idea, oh wow, that's a great idea, that's a magnificent idea, that emotion is very strong. You see, you have that vision that, wow, this is a great idea, and it's going to make a lot of money. But the problem is obviously that between that emotion and the moment that you can make it real, and most of the time to make it real, you need money to make money. So sometimes it's a bit ironic, or there's a huge paradox there. You have a great idea, the emotion that you had when you got the idea was, overwhelming. It's like when you have an idea for a new song, for a new movie, for a new 3D model. Like this model, yesterday I got the idea. Yesterday, I remember exactly the time, the moment. Let's create a Venetian mask over that basic 3D head, 3D torso from 3Design using the shaper. And let's make it into a tutorial or a live stream, and all that. And I remember, because when you get the idea, you have like a big smile on your face, you're like the shining sun, your face shines like you have the sun in your face, and you get that idea. So obviously for me it's easier, because I've been doing this for many years. So automatically when I get the idea, I save the idea, or I write it down, or I write it in an email or something. I write it down, but also what I do is that I clearly remember. It's like I record the idea in myself, like in my soul somewhere, in my body somehow, the emotion, so that nothing at all comes and affects my the strength of the first idea. Because you know, then the idea was yesterday, so I woke up today and maybe I wake up tired, or the same energy is gone. You know, you need to save that energy of the idea, because you know that's a magnificent idea for anything. Like I said, obviously I'm referring now for a jewelry design or something like that, but it's the same. You get the idea for a new song, for a new business, for a new movie, for a new drawing, painting, whatever it is that you're doing, or even if you're a cook, for a magnificent new recipe for a cookie, or for a chicken, or for meat, or whatever you like to cook and eat. Obviously, for a cook, having the idea for a new recipe is something amazing. It's a treasure. But the most important thing you need to record and really keep inside you is the energy that you receive, because you receive that divine energy, that amazing energy, that life-changing energy at the moment that you get the inspiration, which is, well, that's how it happens for me. When I got this idea, a Venetian mask, and you should have seen the smile on my face because that's exactly how it goes. So obviously you do get used to it, which is also something very bad, and because you lose one of the most magnificent and powerful strength of creativity. It's the ingenuity of the kid. You know, a kid has an idea, he goes and he do it, just do it. That's why that phrase, just do it, is so good, because that's the strength of sometimes any, let's really say, but I quote of a stupid kid, but not meaning that he's stupid, but really that it's pure ingenuity. When you're a kid and you get an idea, when you get the idea when you're a kid, any children gets an idea and he just rushes to make that idea true. Nothing is going to prevent a kid with an idea to make that idea become real, become true. So it's very important to keep that feeling inside you, that feeling of absolute power and absolute happiness, because when you get the inspiration, your happiness is absolutely pure. Okay, the software I'm using here is 3Design Retopology Shaper, or Shaper Retopology from 3Design. It's a French software from Gravotech. It's one of the best, well, it's the best jewelry software. As simple as that. Just an amazing software, beautiful software. It's the best software for designers. If you're a designer, 3Design is better than anything else, than Matrix, than Rhino, than Blender, than ZBrush, than any software you can name. 3Design is better for designers. It's the absolute best tool for designers, because the entire interface is depured to a point that you can just focus in developing your idea as a creative person without worrying too much about technical issues, because all the tools and everything that we do is soft and parametric, and it's CAD. So the technical side of fighting against that many vertices or faces or tools just vanishes through the interface. Okay, so far so good. I think the general shape 3Design, that's the name of the software. So it's funny because the software is really called 3Design. 3Design is the name of the software. Some people don't understand that when I say the name of the software, it's not that the activity is 3Design. Yes, I am 3Designing something, but the name of the software is 3Design. All right. Okay, so let's just... okay, I have an idea. This is a bit too sharp, so I'm going to add some... But the most important thing is not just the software, like I was talking about, the emotion and the strength of the inspiration when you get the idea. That's more important than any software. Always remember the strength of the idea. Okay, so here I'm going to slide a couple of well, at least two. Here we are. Okay, so just sliding a couple of vertices here. Yeah, because more than the tools that we use, a lot of people forget the strength of the inspiration, or the purpose also of the inspiration, and it's worse to... The worst thing that can happen to you in life, one of the worst thing, is having amazing tools but no inspiration. And worse than that, no purpose. More than, well, and when I say purpose, making money is not a purpose. It's not a life purpose. It is something that can move you a lot, I understand, because of the fear and the pressure of not having enough money. I went there, obviously, like, let's say 10 years ago, I was struggling a lot. I almost went to jail because I could not pay the bills. I had no money to eat. I had a lot of rent to pay because I had to pay my home. I had to pay also the place for my business. And it was, remember the 2009 financial real estate crash in United States? That was in 2009. Well, here in Mexico, it hit the economy in 2009 and 2010. And well, it was a very difficult time. Okay, let me see if that's good enough. I think just there's a small place here I would like to make softer. Here, let's move this and that. Okay, so when I say when I talk about money and all of that, obviously when you have money, it's a lot simpler to remember the beauty and the inspiration, and that you should not worry that much about making money. But to get there, I had to go through a lot of troubled times, a lot. People stole money from me, they lied to me, and I'm not talking, so I'm talking about $30,000. It was my entire fortune at that time. And basically I was bankrupt. The amount of debt I had was huge. People lied to me, stole money from me. You know, I had some bad business associates. They were not working, they were not making money, and they were stealing money from the business. Then came the economy crisis from the real estate crisis in the US, the famous real estate bubble that blew up in 2009. And there was no money at all. Nothing, no money at all. And that's when people lied to me, steal money from me, and basically left me bankrupt. And so I'm not just talking pretty, just without any reason. I went through many hard years, and yeah, obviously working was the solution, but working is not always the solution and the only solution. You must also believe again and find purpose again. Exactly like now, like because of the pandemic, we need to find purpose again, a new inspiration, and believe again in our ideas and the power of our ideas to make money. But the goal is the inspiration, not the money. Okay, again, let's go here. I'm just tweaking small details because once I'm done with the structure, I'm going to give thickness to the design. And I'm going to start, also obviously the eyes, I'm going to remove the eye, the zone, because it's a Venetian mask. And then I will start to make engravings, or the opposite, who knows. So I'm not totally convinced yet, so I must be very convinced before I start to move forward. I'm almost there because obviously I want to move forward. There's a rhythm I want to keep. The creation process needs, let me check something. Okay, here. Okay, so there. I don't want it symmetrical to the other side, not at all, but I do want some details to make this design a lot more dynamic and original. Can I bring that lower? Yes, I think yes. So I'm going to slide this again, just 1 point here. Okay, so everybody, welcome to the, oh, that's, oh, this is nice. Okay, to the jewelry show. I'm going to call it like that now, at least on Saturdays. It's going to be called the jewelry show. Many people just ask about the software, but in fact, we could talk a lot about jewelry brands and the things that are going on in the jewelry business worldwide, and not just only about softwares or hardwares. And but that's up to you. Jeremy, I just talk about what I'm going through with the ideas or the concept about my designs. And but we could very easily talk about jewelry brands. And okay, so is that all right? I think this is pretty good. This is pretty nice from the concept I had, but I just want to okay. Okay, so I'm just going to make this side a bit smaller, this curve here. Question is, yeah, this part is a bit too big. I want to bring it a bit rounder to the side. Yeah, let's go rounder. So this is just a detail, and then I will be moving forward with making this Venetian mask high jewelry model 3D asset. And because like I said, I really want to create something different today. And this is the way. This is the way. Yes, this is a reference to the Mandalorian, the series. The way was the way before the Mandalorian. They took the phrase from other life stories, obviously. And this is the way. So rounder here. Okay, are we good? Yes, we're good. Okay, we're good. Okay, so that's the base surface for the mask. But now I need to make the eyes. So let's bring, once I have the surface, I can make a copy and bring it to the shaper again. The first thing I want to do, so now I'm in the shaper. It's not exactly the topology tool anymore. I want to have a look at the zone of the eyes. And before I do that, let's have a look at this. Okay, so for the eyes, this is pretty good. So I'm going to erase these faces. And we have this. Okay, now I'm going to activate again the supports. And I'm going again in the topology to make the touch-ups around the eyes. So I need to move these points. I want this rounder. And that part I want to be generally symmetrical. Because, well, basically the reference for the eyes is symmetrical. Even if it's a mask, but I want to see if I can make them maybe, because obviously, like I said, this design is I'm doing it live, so I do have an idea, a general idea, but there are other ideas that I need to try, like the shape of the eyes. I'm not sure if I want to make them realistic like that, or maybe you know that in some masks the eyes are rather more like ovals, like big ovals, or like rectangles with rounded edges. So I need to test. First I'm going to make them like that, like the shape of the eye, the general shape, and we'll see how it works. Because I need to see first how it works. And or maybe this shape. This shape looks really good. Yeah, this shape looks really good. I think I prefer the shape on the right side. Let's have a look here. Or maybe even asymmetrical like this. Maybe this shape, the eyes are asymmetrical also now, but I think I like it. I think I like it like this. Maybe just a bit bigger on the left side. I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's go back here and let's make this eye bigger. So welcome to the jewelry show. My name is Damien Rohrbach. Today we're modeling a 3D Venetian mask high jewelry pendant. Now I'm making it real scale, like the scale of a mask. I will make it smaller later to make it like a jewel. Or I could make, no wait, I'm still thinking that maybe I can make the mask like really a mask. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. It's a better concept. It's a more impressive concept. A bit obvious, but well, I need to confirm. All right, so I don't want the shape of the eyes to be symmetrical. I just want them to be bigger. All right, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Just the shape of the nose, but that I need to forget. Yeah, who knows? Okay, and now I'm going to change the name. Of this. Okay, this is good. Okay, here I'm going to change the name. Okay, give me a second, because like I said, all right, okay, all right. Okay, so now let's take this again. I'm going to make a third copy of this, and I'm going to go to the shaper. Here now I'm not going to work with the retopology tool. I'm going to use the shaper, which works with the general geometry of faces, edges, and vertices. So that's a special part inside of 3Design. There's just two details I need to change. That part of the nose, I think it's already corrected like this. I think I like it. Okay, all right. I think it's okay. I can have a look at the vertices if I want, because maybe this one I want to move very slightly to make the nose part, well, actually a bit sharper. And well, just balancing the shape, the general shape. Okay, so this side is too high. Are you too high? I think this side is too high. Yes. The face should not come under itself. Something like this. This is pretty good. Okay. All right, so that part, I think it's corrected. It was going way too far away, and wasn't that clean. Okay, and here also there's a vertex that went too far to the back. What's the orientation of you? All right, here. Let's bring it to the front. And this one, I don't want that bulb here. That's that's a detail I want to simplify. So I'm just going to bring it back here, I think. Let's have a look how far. Okay, so this and this, so just small details. Then I will start making the solid for the mask. That's where I will decide the thickness of the mask. And then we'll start making a lot of work on the surface of the mask, because it's a Venetian mask and they have a lot of decorations. When I mean a lot, I do mean a lot. That's why I said that this design is going to be obviously time consuming, a couple of hours, but it totally deserves it, because I'm creating a custom yellow and white gold with gemstones, custom Venetian mask, high jewelry Venetian mask. And the general shape already has the quality I wanted. So that's nice, that's nice. Okay, I'm going to make another copy. To every step I make a copy of the design, because if anything goes wrong, or if one of the details that I love it like that. That's great. All right, so now let's go back to the shaper here. What I'm going to do now is to create the solid. That's one of the most pretty parts of the process. It's a tool here that's going to create the solid shell. I think it's this one, to the thickness that I'm going to ask to the software. So let's have a look how it develops the solid. I'm going to go at 5 millimeters, I think. All right. So what the software did right now with this tool, created with the retopology and then the shaper, adjusted with the shaper, we create the thickness. So I gave it a 5 millimeter thickness. All right. And I'm looking at the surface, because like I said, this is one of the prettiest parts of the entire process. It's very clean, and that's what I said also why in this department 3Design is better than ZBrush or Blender or whatever software, Rhino or whatever software you're using. It is that the shaper from 3Design creates very clean CAD surfaces and solids like this one. So obviously also I'm looking at the quality of the solid. I'm really enjoying this because it's really pretty. But obviously we won't stay like this too long. Sadly, we need to move forward. There's still a lot of work to be done. I mean, really a lot of work to be done. But this is already very encouraging. Here what I can do also is unsharp these edges. All right. Okay. I'm not sure if I prefer it sharp or unsharp, because I could also bevel the edges. I think it's better sharp. I think it's better sharp. Okay, let's try to bevel the edges. Ah, no, I won't be able to bevel the edges. So let's not. Okay, but now I'm going to start Okay, let's bring back the head here. Okay, it's starting to be pretty interesting. Obviously, I'm not done at all. Like I said, there are many. Okay, so let's start with what's next. So what's next? I'm going to use other tools. I'm going to draw on solid. And I'm going to try to bring, well, let's start. Let's start with one edge so we can test the sizes. How far are we going to go? How far are we going to go? I think we're going to come down like this. Okay, I'm going to validate this. I'm going to save this. So in 3Design, almost everything you do, you can correct on the fly because it's a CAD software. And that's why I'm making this jewel with 3Design. Because we can edit every step at almost any point with almost any tool. Not all the tools let you do that, but almost every tool. Okay, so we are going to make one edge. So I want a special shape to make one edge, and then I will create many edges of this type over the, and also I'm going to change, I think I want the mask to be white gold and the edges are going to be yellow gold. And also it's going to be something that is totally manufacturable using 3D printing techniques or CNC carving techniques or technologies or equipment. But remember that all I design on my channel, well, when I say that it's manufacturable, it means that it's really manufacturable using real technologies. Okay, one edge right here. This is pretty nice. Now I need to draw a profile I'm going to use for my first test. So let's do it here on the front view. Let's draw. Okay, here now I'm going to make something like this. I'm making it go down like this, like a pier or like a raindrop, because I needed to go inside the other solid to have really an airtight solid to manufacture the different elements. So this is going to be like this. Okay, so sometimes I do get messages. Message here. Not much. Dentist appointment. It's not today, so who knows? All right. So that's my shape. So let me take the curve. We're going to do a sweep. So sweep right in there, and let's select the custom curve for the profile, which is this one. Okay, select. So I'm going to go like this. I don't know if the orientation is correct. So yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. There's just, all right. So here on the mask, there's something I need to, I want to move. Okay, now this is really important to do. Okay, let's have a look at this part. There's a part here that goes back too much. Let's see if I can correct this. It's pretty much correct for the shape of the eye, but I don't want it to come back as much. This one and this one on the wide side. Let's bring it here. Now front view. Let's bring it. Okay, this is already nicer. Like a lot nicer. The shape is very clean. That I'm very happy with that. But there was that small dent there, which goes with the shape of the eye. That's correct, but that one just too ugly. So also, okay, so let's go with that. And because 3Design, or thanks to the fact that 3Design is a CAD software, is going to adapt the shape of my drawing. Okay, it's a bit better. There's still just a pretty sharp, yeah, but that's correct. Okay, so that's pretty nice. Like I said, also the mask, I want white gold for the mask now. I think it's an important moment. Yeah, the good moment. Important moment. It's a good moment. It's the right moment to make this white gold, and this is what I want now. I think you can understand what's coming now. What's coming now is that I'm making, well, this shape. First I'm going to check the sizes. Here we can see it has 4 millimeters by 4, 5 by 5. Then I'm going to remove the scale because I want it exactly at 5 by 5. Then the endings with this type of sweep, I'm going to make them in soft endings on a pretty long distance, 8. So the endings start, okay, I need a lot more distance because this design is really big because it's the size, okay, 30 and 30, I guess. Okay, so you can see now that the endings, this sweep is diminishing the endings and smoothing the ending. That's a very common way to end these type of sweeps. I want to move, I don't want this edge to come inside the eye here, so I'm going to adapt. I use a tool called Draw on Solid, and I can move the points and change the distances, and because 3Design is a CAD software, or thanks to the fact that 3Design is a CAD software, yet again, it's going to correct the sweep right after here and here. Okay, so I can always adapt the curves. That's why it's important to use a software like 3Design. And here I'm still just very slightly too much to the right, so I still need to make a double click to my curve and adapt this curve. They're very small details, but like I said at the beginning, that's why 3Design is amazing for designers, because you don't need to worry about too many things, but making things look perfectly good and perfectly precise and detailed the way you want. Okay, this is perfect now. Okay, so this is just one sweep. So now I'm going to make sweeps all over the mask, and this is perfectly what I wanted for a Venetian mask, a custom high jewelry Venetian mask. It obviously requires hours of work, but it's totally worth it. So let's keep on with this process. And obviously it's not just the process, it's how you do the process and where you do the process. And because that will give the mask. So like I said, I don't know exactly how far, or I have basically, better said, I have no idea. I have just the concept. But where should the curve start, go, turn, make a spiral, all of that? I'm really creating this live. This is inspiration as it goes, or at its best. Because it's the tremendous joy of creating a new amazing custom design. And so this has a lot of added value, and that's why I love doing this live, so a broader audience can follow the joy and the challenges, because obviously this is very challenging. You might think that it's not, but because I have 20 years of experience doing this, and it looks super easy when I do it, and it's not. It's really challenging, and everything must be looked out for and balanced, and also made to a real scale, manufacturable gold mask. But obviously a software like 3Design helps, obviously, for the process. I mean, the software also is the best software for jewelry designing. Okay, so here what I can do is make a copy of my suite, create copy, and I'm going to assign the new curve I just drew on the solid. So here the path, I choose the new path. There it is, and validate this, and here it is, the second curve, and it's looking good. I have in my head, I have, let's say, the quality I want to achieve, the quality of the design, of the style of the design I want to achieve. That's what I really have in my head, but I don't have specifics for the curves or even the shape of the mask. I really liked the shape of the mask. It's the type of style I want, like a neoclassic, like a mix between modern and classical designs for a Venetian mask and high jewelry. Okay, so, but I must be very careful because obviously every time I add an element, it's going to start blocking some zones, and I also want to add gemstones. So like I was saying, this type of jewelry design is also one of the most challenging things that you can imagine in the jewelry field. Because it's done live, it's custom, it's a one-of-a-kind design, it's a high jewelry design. There's no photo reference because it's a totally new creation. That's obviously why I have my own brand. And it's not easy at all. Like I said a moment ago, it seems to be really easy, but this process is one of the most challenging processes you can imagine for a jewelry designer. Tell any jewelry designer, please create me a custom-made high jewelry Venetian mask in a couple of hours. It's something that not so many people can do. And also do it in such a way that you can 3D print it and really manufacture the design with real sizes for the sweep, the thickness of the mask, and all of that. Just because I've been doing this for 20 years now, that I can do this like this live and at this grade of complexity, and make it seem that easy. But this is a real challenge, which is why I wanted to do it live. Because it's more enjoyable. All right. Yeah, this one I'm not sure. We're going to go further because yeah, this, okay, this is great. This should go here. Okay, in the middle. Let's make a middle. Okay, perfect. Okay, now I know what I'm going to do, at least for that part, because there are many things that need to be solved yet. This is just the beginning of the decoration of the mask. All right, so here I'm going to come in between. So this is going to work as the eyebrows somehow, aesthetically, shape-wise, and then I'll make curves in a totally different direction to create a more dynamic pattern for the entire mask. Because yes, I want to have a pattern all over the mask, then add gemstones, also colored gemstones, semi-precious and precious gemstones, colored gemstones, pearls. Yeah, pearls also, we need pearls. We always need pearls in such a design. And yeah, I want a pattern, but I just don't want a repetitive trick or pattern all over the mask. That would be poor. Many designers, once they find a pattern that works, they repeat the entire pattern all over their work, and that's cheap. That's the cheap way to give a solution to a design. You need to solve the aesthetic of something in a more global scale than repeating a pattern. Repeating a pattern, that's what a child would do, a small kid, because a small kid, well, has more limited vision. Yeah, generally, there are obviously some genius kids, but let's say generally, The only difference is even a genius kid would not be able to create a jewelry design because he would totally lack the technical manufacturing side and issues and challenges of the jewelry manufacturing process, which is something that a young child or kid would, even if it's a genius child, would not know about. Because to know about jewelry manufacturing, it's not about your talent as a genius kid or not. It's about your technical knowledge in reality about the jewelry manufacturing processes. That's why generally the jewelry field is protected against just having talent. Just having talent in the jewelry field is not enough. You should really beware of, well, if you're planning to make a jewelry design business or something like that, just because you have talent, it's okay, that's good, but it's not enough. You need to know about jewelry manufacturing. I always say that almost, but it's because I've seen so many people wanting to ignore the fact that to be a jewelry designer, you need to be a jewelry maker first, a goldsmith, a jewelry manufacturer somehow, and know about the technologies and the techniques on how to manufacture a jewel. That's something very important. All right, let's make a copy of the sweep. The sweep is going to be generally the same. On that side, yes, you can say, oh, that's cheap. But that's okay. That's okay, because I say it's okay. And when I say that's not okay, it's not okay. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Wow. Wow, this one came out just almost perfect at once. Okay, this is, and also this is an asymmetrical mask. It makes it easier on some aspects, but it also makes it harder on other aspects. Like one aspect that makes it harder to design an asymmetric mask is that you need to design the entire area specifically. So it's a lot more work. All right, now I'm going to design. Okay, I'm going to draw. Okay, I'm going to draw. I'm going to keep drawing my decorations, but I'm going to make a smaller. Okay, here I need to check something already with the size of the stones. With the size of the stones, because I want stones. So I'm going to go to the pavé tool, and I'm going to have a look at how big my stones need to be. Maybe 5 millimeters. Let's have a look at this. No, this is too big. So let's put it there. I think I'm going to go at 3. Okay, so I'm going to start making a pavé for that zone. And then I will base the new pattern based on the stones. Let's go. You will very quickly understand what I want to achieve. But it's really nice because I'm also already starting the gemstone distribution. I'm going to make a couple of distribution. I want 1, 2, 3. So here maybe I'm going to need smaller stones. Am I going to need smaller stones? Maybe yes, but 3 millimeters I kind of like. It's not too big, it's not too small. For a real size gemstone, it's almost perfect. Okay, let me see if that creates some nice curves between the stones. Let's have a look at this. Let's draw. In between the stones. Okay, so here I want separations. Then for the prongs of the, all right, so let's make a copy of this. Let's save first. Sometimes the software can crash. You know, it happens with any software. So it's better to save curve. Okay, here, let's make the sweep. So now the new sweep is going to be very small, very short here. And I'm going to make it smaller, 3 by 3. 3 by 3. And the head of the endings are going to be smaller. So I need 2 by 2. Okay. That's funny. I know, but that's me. I did not make a copy. Sorry, that was so funny. Okay, I forgot to make the copy, so let's create a copy of this one. And that one goes to the curve I just left. I forgot to make a copy. I changed the parameters, but I didn't make a copy. This one goes there. Thank you. It's like, why did it? It just became hidden suddenly. I said, that's weird. Okay, so I want these small curves there. Yes. So let's make the other ones. They're smaller ones. They're going to divide zones for the gemstone because yeah, somehow we want a lot of gemstones. Some yeah, the high jewelry designs are also based on the amount and the technical complications of the work with the gemstones. And that's why also knowing the work that the gemstone setters, because setting gemstones is a very hard work, and there are not so many gemstone setters. Well, like I said in other videos, first the gemstone cutters. To cut a gemstone, it's a very hard work. They do a tremendous job. I always congratulate these people, because before jewelry comes to life, people need to go to the mines, extract the gemstone. So these people also, all the very hard-working people that goes to the mine or to the illegal mines even, and they have a very hard life. Some are slaves. Gemstones always have a very, well, not all, but most of them have very hard stories, because they're very passionate people, but also people with very hard, poor lives that go for the gemstones. So first, these people, okay. Then the people who cut the gemstones, because you need to cut the gemstones, and that's also a very hard life. Gemstone cutters, they have a very hard work, and that's why many people just want to be jewelry designers, because they think that you can be a Starbucks designing jewels, and that you will be okay designing your jewels at Starbucks. But it's not that simple. And then once the gemstone come from the mines to the gemstone cutters, well, the designers do the designs for the gemstones, and then the jewelers make the shape of the metal, and then come the gemstone setters. All right, so setting the gemstone is a lot of very hard work. Also, it's a lot of hard work. And so all these people are part of the jewelry industry, jewelry making, suppliers, service providers, professional craftsmen, the jewelry business, the jewelry world, the jewelry life, and we need all these people who make a lot of very hard work, some or even many to the cost of their own lives. Also the gold, some people extract the gold from the earth. Some are very big companies that use huge machines to basically destroy the earth and extract the gold. Some are poor people that go to the open field and collect gold as with their bare hands, or using like very old techniques to find gold in rivers, etc., etc., at the risk of their own life, to find gold and sell it on the black market. So this is always a very harsh business, and there's a lot of social incurrency in the structure of our society, and the jewelry business is very strongly shaped by those different levels of power and the social scale and wealth and poverty, and all that contrast that shows all through the entire scale of the jewelry industry. There are many ways to make jewels, and there are many materials to make jewels, and it's not always just a pretty story. It's not always just a love story about jewelry. Oops. So I'm going to make these division between the gemstones, and I'm going to make that top part, and we'll see if it works. It's going to look a bit like a seashell. It's a bit the goal of that part. All right. Alrighty-yo. Welcome everybody to the live stream about jewelry design. Here we are with 3Design. I'm creating a real scale high jewelry Venetian mask as it goes. All right, now let's make another sweep, create copy, assign to the new curve here. Okay, so at least that concept with the divisions and the gemstone there for that zone works. That part works. I kind of like it. But now I need to keep on making the pavé for the entire zone. So where's the pavé? Pavé. Double click to the pavé. And I'm going to keep adding gemstones. So I'm planning on using always the same size for gemstone, but I'm just planning to, because it also needs to work in this area. Okay, so I think I'm going to keep adding stones and making the divisions step by step, because it's going to be easier to have an accurate division. Between these zones. Then I will use prongs. Then I will use prongs to fill the spaces. Something like this. Right here. So every time I draw, I make a copy, and I assign the new curve from the list or from the 3D view. That doesn't matter. Okay. So I'm going to sweep all the upper part like that. Like I said, I won't repeat the same process here. I don't want to be repeating patterns all over the place, repeating always the same concept. That would be poor. So with this zone, yes, I'm going to complete that concept for all this part, because it looks like some hair or the eyebrows or things that relate to the eye, over the eye, okay? So it relates somehow. So I'm going to move forward and complete that process. And about the size of the gemstone, I know that I'm going to keep the same size for this zone, but for the next zone I will be doing something totally different. And also I'm avoiding to repeat always the same pattern to create a much more dynamic and lively design. That's what art is all about. Not about geometric repetition of always the same. It could be, but I think that geometrically repetitive art is very nice to look at. It's very nice to think about what mathematical concept created that design and all of that, but it lacks creativity, it lacks humanity, and human creations have that special power to be richer and become richer thanks to spontaneous ideas and variations in the creativity, which is what comes and gives more value to what we're doing and create. But that's the part of the magic. Let's call it really the part of the magic. Thank you for your comments. Welcome to the live stream. Those who are joining now, we're here designing a Venetian mask, a full-scale Venetian mask. The general shape has always come forward pretty well. All right, so this is nice. I have an idea. Okay, so now here I'm going to, I always keep adding to the pavé, so double click to the pavé, and I can keep adding new gemstones. But here I'm going to use a double row. Yep, just like this. change the rhythm, like it's going to be 1 2 1 1 2 1, yeah, something like that. That ID comes from one of the rows, one of the areas that has 3 stones, but I had to make them fit. I have them fit. Let me show you in a second. So here, okay, because of this zone occupies more space than the other lines. So now I'm going to use a double row, and I need, because also I need to start fitting the separation somehow in a new curvature here. I will also be using the prongs to complete that. To complete that idea, because here I need, so I will, okay, let's do this, but I think I will need another stone, one more stone. So let's make a copy of a division here. Change the path. This is new path. Okay. Sorry. The window was under the other window. Typical. Okay, so there, that division is 2. No, this is not. This is not at all what I wanted. I want the pavé, please. Pavé. Where is the pavé? Pavé. Double click here. All right. So here I need. Hi, come on. Okay, and the software is, I need to close the software. Let's open the software again. Yeah, that's very much normal after working 2 hours straight, even a bit more. The software needs to be reinitialized somehow. Okay, so here we go, the mask right here. Here we go. So the mask is way up there. Don't worry, the mask is here. I was talking about the pavé, so let me just bring the 2 windows. Okay. Here they are. These are the windows for the tools. Sometimes they appear off screen because I have multiple screens. It's nothing more than that. Okay, so we were talking about adding more stones to the pavé, and let's just open the windows again and just reinitialize the software for. Okay, right, so I was talking about this zone. Here I need to compress the distance. It's pretty nice. And there's space for 1 more stone. Or I'm going to make space for 1 more stone. This is going to be great because I must start curving the separations more. And to do that, I need to adapt the amount of gemstones or adapt the shape of the separation. But because there's a certain curve that I need to follow for the separations, well, I must balance as I go forward. I need to balance these distributions. And that's why 3Design is amazing to do that, because I can double click all the objects and adapt the designs as I create, basically. That's why I said that at the beginning. The 3Design is fantastic for designers, and not only jewelry designers, honestly, for product designers also. It's fantastic. It's really amazing. Okay, so now I adjust the new separation. It was too straight, too ugly. I want a nicer curve like this one. And I adapted the distribution of the stones. Buenas tardes, también en español. Bienvenidos. Estoy haciendo una máscara veneciana de alta joyería al tamaño real con 3Design. Entonces ahorita estoy distribuyendo piedras en esta zona y haciendo separaciones para cada parte. Y bueno, como comenté hace rato, estoy alternando las estructuras para tener un cierto ritmo en las divisiones sin repetir siempre el mismo motivo. Y por eso pues aquí no es una cosa de automatización. A cada paso que hago tengo que diseñar las curvas adaptadas. Hola, bienvenidos. Ups, a ver este punto que era de más. Vale, entonces adaptando las curvas de separación a cada nuevo avance de piedras. Y pues bueno, obviamente no hay mucha automatización en esto, pero bueno, también porque sí es típicamente el tipo de joyería que realizo, piezas únicas con mucho valor agregado a través de la creación de los diseños, ¿no? Pues digamos que obviamente son diseños que por esencia deben ser espectaculares por el tiempo que les dedico. Digo, justamente si les voy a dedicar mucho tiempo a diseños de piezas que no destacan, no valdría la pena obviamente diseñar. Pero son piezas muy especiales, entonces claro que tienen pues una demanda de clientes que buscan ese tipo de realizaciones y que no van a comprar una joya en una joyería como Tous o como Bizarro o como pues marcas o como Pandora que hacen producto de consumo masivo, ¿no? Aquí no estamos haciendo diseños de consumo masivo. Estamos haciendo diseños para gente que busca creaciones muy especiales. Coleccionistas, por ejemplo. Entonces justamente mis piezas atraen mucho más a coleccionistas. Bueno, obviamente también si son creadas para coleccionistas. Bien, aquí las voy a mantener así. Okay, so let's go back to English so everybody can follow the live stream. Today I'm going to complete this zone and the second zone here. All right, here now let's make the new separation. Oh, what did I do? I want a copy from the separation right there. So I'm going to select the new path right here. I need to check that it does not overlap the stones too much. And okay, this is great, this is good. Okay, here I'm going to change this one. So I can double click on the curve and adapt and adapt. So that's always a great advantage, or even a huge advantage from the software from 3Design. I would not start such a huge design endeavor without 3Design. It's the only, because the tool, the software allows me to create as I go without worrying that much. Okay, this is very important. All right, let's keep on with the pavé. So every time I make a separation and I update the pavé to fit the new stone. So obviously the pavé is always further up. I need to go up the list to find the pavé. Okay. Now here we're going to fit 2 stones. So these stones, they have 3 millimeters round. They're going to be a variety of colored gemstones, and it should be very attractive on the white gold because I'm going to work with the colors. I'm going to work on the colors of the gemstones. That's part of the work when you create high jewelry designs. The work with the colors is very important. It's not just going to be only black diamonds or white diamonds. It could be interesting, of course, but this is a Venetian mask, so the colors are very important. I would say obviously. It's because of the theme of the origin of the mask. You know that I'm going to use pearls or half pearls in this case, Mabe pearls. Okay, like this curve is too sharp there at the middle. Oh no, sorry, that's weird. What happened there? Okay, wait. I need to adapt this curve. Okay, so let's make the curve curvier. Sometimes curves are too straight. That's ironic. Almost. But you can see at the end there's like a small, that zone is too straight. I need to be softer. So I'm going to make a bigger arc. Okay, this zone now, a new line, new separation. So I'm drawing on the solid, which is one of my favorite tools. And then I'm making a sweep on that curve. So I'm doing that step by step and updating the pavé. The small black circles are zones that are going to receive colored gemstones. That's a pavé. Well, the pavé is because of the prongs. The name pavé is because it looks like the streets in Paris, by example, they have pavé streets of square stones. So in jewelry, they don't have to be square stones. It's just referring to the fact that you're covering a surface totally set with stones. The stones are covering the entire area, and that's why it's called a pavé. It's a reference to a pavé streets which is filled with stones. So it's referring to that part, the concept that it's filled with stones. That's why it's called a pavé. Okay, now this is the new separation. So I'm making a copy and moving forward. So I'm almost done here with that, but then I will bring in the stones, but there's just space for a couple more stones. And also it's going to be nicer for you because I'm going to move to the next process, because obviously it's not that fun to watch the same process all the time, but well, it's needed. Okay, so this is going to be the last stone here, and I'm just going to adapt. This one is going to have 2 stones here, so obviously they can't, or they shouldn't overlap. Okay, there you go. So I need 1 separation, and the rest is, and then we'll start. I will bring in the gemstones. And now that I'm talking about overlapping, I just saw, I know they're not overlapping. All right, I still need to draw 1 curve. Here. Here. This is the last separation. The rest won't have. On the left side, I don't need a separation anymore. Just like on the beginning side, I'm going to use prongs to make the area well defined, well limited, and clearly readable, and pretty generally. So okay, this is it there. Let's make a copy of this one. So this is the last time I do this for this design, because that's the last separation. On the other areas, I won't be making such patterns. This is just a special pattern for the top of the mask right here, and it's coming out fantastic. Okay, so I have, but let me see, I just want, this one needs more curve. So double click this one, you can see the space, it's too much, it went too much to the right. I need it more to the left, and I need the curve to be stronger, at least there, but also here somehow, because of the harmony with the other curves. Okay, this one is pretty nice, but here we can see that the distances, so this one needs to go yet further to the left very clearly to balance that distance, because this is the art of spacing elements in the pattern, and this is something that you can't make in an automatic fashion. It's entirely made thanks to the knowledge. The eye recognize those Now here, this one goes too much to the right side on the down part. So here I can find the curve and balance that. And I must check that properly. These are details, but that's exactly my job. Checking and balancing all these details is exactly what makes the difference. A designer that has no experience in jewelry making or jewelry design or designing or 3D modeling will just completely pass on these details and say this is all right, but this is not balanced yet. It's almost balanced, but actually this curve I think is the last one that really is in need of balancing. It's too straight here, and it's still too straight down there. Obviously I might have to adapt this stone. Okay, so it's still just too straight at the top. Almost there. Bear with me, bear with me. And also, well, many people don't have the patience. You might have the knowledge, but then you also need the patience. A lot of patience, and this is why jewelry designing is a very specific job. A lot of people don't even know what designing is. They think it's just the inspiration. The inspiration here is create a Venetian mask, a high jewelry Venetian mask. So that's what the designer says, and I'm the designer. Okay, that's the concept. Yeah, great idea. But the work of the designer, his job is to make the design come true on all its aspects, and make the design to be manufacturable, to be real scale with gemstones, with gemstone setting, with thickness, and balance the design. He must balance the design because that's the quality of the design. It's not just the idea. Everybody can have the idea. Oh, it would be great to make a high jewelry Venetian mask. I mean, the idea is not new. You can find and see great jewelers have already made this, but nonetheless the idea is still pretty much original because there are not that many high jewelry Venetian masks out there. But nonetheless, having the idea, okay, that's a great part of what must be done by the designer. But then the designer must make drawings, must make the design become real. And that's a very specific job. And that's why also not any 3D modeler can model. It's not because you're a 3D modeler that you can design jewelry. And don't do that. You're going to lose your time. It's not how it works. It's I'm 3D modeling something, yes, because yes, I'm a 3D modeler, but I'm also a jeweler, and that's why I'm jewelry designer. Like I already said that, but it's important. Okay, so the stones. So I'm going to create a diamond. So there you're going to see a diamond show up there at the middle. Let's go home, which is the middle, the origin of the system is right there. Let's create a diamond right there. And like I said, but first I'm going to set that diamond into the positions. Here I'm going to set the diamonds right there in the pavé right there and set the gemstones right there. So I have the diamonds there, but like I said, I don't exactly want just diamonds. I want colored gemstones. So we're going to set the materials. Let's save for a second here. So now this is looking great already. Like I said, today I'm going to complete these zones. So I'm going to choose the color for the gemstones. Obviously, it's going to be just a proposal first because actually, let's go there. I want, okay, here I want, let's try to alternate if possible. Okay, here I want garnets. I want red gemstones, garnets. Yes, okay. System was loading the files. Then I want some pink. Here, some pink. So the pink should go here and there also. And already just choosing the color of the gemstone, this is more the work of a painter. And okay, so here, what happened there? That's funny, but I don't want, no, the amethyst there, I don't want it there. Ah, but wait a second. That mistake could prove interesting. Wait, I'm going to put amethyst there. And this one should be pink still. Okay, so this one should be pink. Now I want some yellow. Okay, let's go with yellow, but strong yellow, I guess. This one should be pink, and this one should be orange. Okay, so let's make these ones, and this one orange. Okay, something like that, but is that all right? We'll see about that later. So this is just to distribute the fact that the colors of the gemstone are going to fully participate in this creation. I would say obviously, like I said, because it's a Venetian mask, so it would be a bit sad to have only diamonds, by example. But I want to see that, but because maybe just diamonds, it could be nice. But okay, let's go with this for a second. And so obviously these gemstones are very saturated, but this is just a quick representation of the color of the gemstone. Don't worry too much about that. But anyway, I like to see if okay, I have an idea, because I was not planning on putting a really okay, this is a bit better, but the only thing I would like is that this one and this one, okay, this one and this one should be a bit stronger too. Okay, I think this is nice to start with. Now I'm going to create the prongs. I need to create the prongs. Okay, I need to create the prongs because this is a pavé setting in that zone there. I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to create pavé, and I'm going to distribute the prongs because we also have decorative prongs. It's not only, so let's have a look at 1 millimeter. We should be pretty good at 1. Yeah, this is great. I'm going to start at 1, and no, you know what? I'm going to select all the prongs. I think they're too small. 125. Okay, I'm going to go at 125 first. Select everybody, please. Okay, here I can select the stones in the list and put 125. Okay, everybody's 125. Yeah, about the price tag. Yeah, this jewel obviously is meant to be very expensive, but it's also meant to be very much one of a kind. But don't forget that also all the designs I do can be manufactured in different alternatives. There's always, like, the highest price range is obviously platinum and diamonds, and white gold, yellow gold, and precious and semi-precious gemstones. Then you can have the silver variant with semi-precious gemstone, and then you can have the brass, the gold-plated brass with imitation gemstones, synthetic gemstones, which would be the lowest price range. So a jewelry design can be adapted for a specific price range, and but at first it will be designed for the highest price range. That's important, because that's where all the work that it's done on the design side, on the artistic side, is going to be fully paid as it deserves. All the amount of time I dedicate to all the details in my designs, and the research and all of these elements, which are technical and artistic elements, well, it's a lot of effort, knowledge, and a lot of work to balance the entire design, and client know how to recognize and value that, so they know that the price tag is going to be very high, and they obviously seek that kind of artwork in the jewelry world. So yes, it's expensive. But then, like I said, there are many variants of the one design, because they can be manufactured in a lot of different materials. This one could also be made out of paper or wood, because now 3D printing has all these options, and this is also just magnificent to see for artists, for designers, for 3D modelers, that the 3D printers can now print in almost any kind of material. I could also make a very Mexican variant of this mask, made of ceramic and hand painted, by example. So it's always amazing when you have one great idea to see all the variants that your design can receive. And also that's why I do a lot of 3D printing, so I have a lot of knowledge about 3D printing technologies and all the options I have access to. I could also make a plastic version of this, a colored. We could make a polyamide or ABS. There are many types of plastic. I would check maybe a more elastic one. There are rubber type of plastics for 3D printing, and some of these plastics can serve like a base and then be hand painted. So this design, and that's why I love my job, my designs and creations, they're not entrapped or blocked or enclosed to always the same price tag, or necessarily very high price tags, because I work also as an artist. I have the entire freedom to change and to adapt the design to other materials, to other clients which have different budgets and different needs. So that's something very healthy for an artist because it means that my work can cross a lot of barriers or frontiers. It's not going to be restricted that much, and that gives me a lot of fresh air to fully design things. By example, like this one as a high jewelry Venetian mask, and then to adapt it to whatever we need for the client, because maybe the client wants this for a fashion show, but obviously they're not going to they're not going to buy the full price real gold and diamonds version of this design, because it would be wrong. Some very specific clients with a lot of money are going to request the full design with the original materials. That's for sure. That's what it's designed for. Like Paris Hilton, by example. Because, well, I'm talking about Paris Hilton now because she's getting married, so she was in the well, they're talking a lot about Paris Hilton again, and that's why I mentioned Paris Hilton. But there are many people that seek this type of creations, and like I said, most of my designs are made for collectionists and or art people, because it's that mix between jewelry and art, like painting. It's like painting mixed with jewelry. Okay, so here I'm just finishing to distribute the prongs, which are necessary to technically set the stones like this. And then, like I said at the beginning, we have some decorative prongs in the endings. So here I'm just going to come like this, and then I'm going to start aligning the ending prongs in a line like small beads, and I don't need to go all the way down. That should be good enough. Now I'm going to see, so the prongs are going to be white gold. That's important for, well, they could be yellow gold, but they would need to be plated, and that's something I don't want. And because the base is going to be casted in white gold, I need to make these prongs in white gold. So here, let's go home. Home is the center of the system. Can I go home? Okay, the home is right there. This is the center of the system. There, that's the prong. So the prong has 125 in diameter, and the height, that's something we'll see. It needs to be not too high and not too low, because we need to be able to set the stones in real life. Like I said, always designing things for real life. Okay, this comes in. So I take the object, I take the positions, and it goes with the setting tool. So now the prongs are all set in their positions, and we can see how the prongs are part of the design of the bigger plan, because this is a bigger plan, obviously. Now here I don't like the distribution, so let me wait a second. Yeah, let me double click here. All right, I like the line, but this stone must be aligned, and I'm going to balance this one. This stone must come there, and here I need two stones I'm missing one stone here, which will be overlapping slightly the neighbor. And I need to adapt these rows to open like a V somehow, slightly step by step. Okay, so this side is in need of a bit of a better balance here with the prongs. Okay, here, and very shortly another prong here at the middle, and here. That should be okay. Let's see if it balance. Oh yeah, okay, that's way nicer. The symmetry of the ending there, it ends like a pyramid or like the Eiffel Tower almost. Okay, now I need to check the balance here also. Yes, this side is a bit less important. I don't know why, but that side is not that important. But is that all right? I think it's pretty good. Ah, this part was too straight. So let's move, because the distance between the prongs are very small, but they create patterns. So it's important to have a nice balance between each prong. Double click right here. Okay, so because in the bigger zones I'm not happy yet. Here we need more small prongs. There's one prong missing here, and there I need to be able to fit another one. The prongs can overlap between themselves, and they must overlap the stones a bit, like a hair, but not much more. Well, in real life we can obviously cut the prongs accordingly if they overlap, because when we set the stones, we cut the prongs accordingly to the stone, to set the stone. So I should not worry that much about the overlapping prongs. But the distances between the prongs, the balance between the prongs should create a very nice pattern, and it's a lot of small details that must be taken care of. The stone needs at least 3 prongs to well, at least 2. Okay, here I need one more prong. Obviously I could make different sizes for the prongs, but well, we can always use different size for the gemstones, and for the prongs are way smaller prongs, way bigger prongs. That's something that happens. Okay, here that's pretty good. Okay, here we need another prong in the corner. And the prongs, some prongs that are just there to fill some spaces, so they don't even need to touch any gemstone. That's very common. Even also in many designs, all the prongs are mandatory to set the stones in many rings. But when you have a really huge, okay, here the prongs are too close to each other, looks bad pattern there. Okay, so here I need to balance this. Okay. And put more distance between some of the prongs. Here we are. Yeah, I use Blender every day. I use Blender every day. I use 3Design and Blender almost every day. But also, yeah, Blender I use Blender every day also. I mean every day because sometimes I'm not working. Obviously I need to rest. But yes, I'm using mostly Blender and 3Design for my everyday work. And also for teaching sometimes. But because they asked at the beginning if I was still teaching. I do teach, but I only teach to very specific people who have very specific life-changing project, like I said. Now this is 3Design. The name of the software is up there. And like always, it's the name of the software, because some people say, what's the name of the software? And I say 3Design. No, that's what you're doing. But that's the name of the software, 3Design. It's not the activity I'm performing. Yes, I'm 3Designing, but this the name of the software. It's 3Design. It's a French jewelry software, and it's basically the best software for jewelry design. Okay, perfect. This zone is done. And okay, so this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. So like I said, this design is an asymmetrical Venetian mask, high jewelry, gold and precious gemstone mask, at a real scale mask. And it's okay, perfect. For today, it's time for me to go. This was already 2 hours and a half long live stream, but I think it was great. It was great to have you here. So thanks everybody for joining, for your comments, for following, for asking. And yeah, like always, I will be posting tutorials for Blender, for 3Design, and Spanish and French and English, and I will keep making live streams now and then. Always, well, basically, like I say, I'm doing my job during the live streams. I'm making 3D designs. Today I was using 3Design with the Shaper Retopology tool to create the mask. It worked out. So this is obviously just the beginning, but these masks will have a lot of work more. There's a lot of work left to do on this mask. It was already great to be able to do this live today. I'm very happy with the result. Really amazing. It's going exactly in the direction I was planning when I had the idea yesterday. And well, I hope it was interesting for all of you to follow this, and yeah, very probably you might even have learned something. I hope. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed to watch the advance of this Venetian mask design. And great. So again, blessed and beloved jewelry community and all of you, because I know that now people who are not necessarily jewelers are following my channel. So I'm going to change that phrase. I'm just going to say no, it's funnier. It's funnier to make asymmetric designs. A lot of Venetian masks are asymmetric, so this is an evolved version of a Venetian mask. And like I said at the beginning, because this is a more advanced concept, I modeled the entire design. It's not symmetrical for the same reason that asymmetrical designs are richer and more dynamic and more appealing and rarer and prettier most of the time. So it was clearly from the beginning. It was going to be an asymmetrical design exactly to make it more complex and more interesting and more expensive also, and more one of a kind and more astonishing and more amazing. Okay, so thanks all for joining. Don't forget to follow my channel or my Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, and see you soon. Take care. Thanks for joining. Thanks to all of you, and take care. Bye bye. Have a nice weekend and see you soon.